And
Perfect.
okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. So this is all about how to get out of mental darkness and be able to shift your state and everything else. And it's a continuation of the previous conversations when we talked about all the different reasons why it's bad to focus on what you can't control, why it's a bad idea to focus on what you have, why it's a bad idea to focus on the negative past. So really we want to convince ourselves that all of those thought habits that put us into low moods are not a good idea and that they're not really that helpful to us because they put us into an unresourceful state. So really at this point of the conversation, we want to, be in agreement that it's a good idea to just continually focus on what you can control. It's a good idea to focus on what you have. It's a good idea to focus on the present moment and focus on the good in the situation. It's a good idea to focus on how things could get better. And it's a good idea to just interrupt your old bad patterns that might plunge you into disempowering thoughts and disempowering moods. We have to first get to the point where we are in agreement and we're just convinced that bad moods are a bad idea, right? Because otherwise the rest of the stuff we try to do won't work, because if somebody still thinks it's a good idea to get in these bad moods, there is a better way to get what you want when you really take full measure of everything, right? So, and at this point, we want to know kind of that we've overcome what is your rule on feeling good? What has to happen in order for you to feel happy? Because if somebody has a rule that's blocking them from feeling happy, like they have to achieve a certain amount of financial success or career success, or they have to be married with kids to feel good, and they're punishing their own emotions as a form of motivating them to move forward. If they have that mindset, then they won't be receptive to what comes next. Yeah. So we have to uproot that with rule beliefs as well. So that's kind of like preliminary stuff. So now we're at this point, which is almost like part 3 in the conversation, which is like, how can you make yourself feel good? Right? So for example, can you tell me, 25 things for sure can change your state and make you feel good whenever you want, right?
Yeah.
Because if we don't know this and we're not clear and we leave it to chance, then we're kind of setting us up for failure. We're going to indulge in bad moods until we just outlast it, right. And rather than getting ourselves into a resourceful state quickly to be more efficient at how we live our life, so this is not something human beings are naturally good at. It takes work. So we want to almost have like, what's your feel good toolbox? Or something like that. Okay. So here's something I would say. We should do this as an experiment. All right. What's sort of like your feel good mood number on a scale of 1 to 10 right now?
Like how good I feel? 10 being like really good?
Yeah.
I would say 8.
8. You're pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I love mornings. I look forward to Fridays in these chats. I'm an 8.
Awesome. Because we can use that as a measurable starting point if we want to test something.
Okay.
Right? Now, what is your favorite food?
Oh, my favorite food, pasta.
Yeah. Pasta. So if you were eating pasta right now, might it be higher than an 8? If you're like, it's Friday, I'm eating pasta and we're having a conversation, right? Like,
of course.
You might be 100%. Like, life is good. The noodle goes in like how it always does in the movies, right? So there are certain things we know that are going to elevate our mood, right?
Yeah.
So why don't we do a little bit of like, I go, you go, and we'll just share ideas. And we want to get clear on this list. Why? Because we need to coach other people on what they should try to get us to do if they see we're stuck in a low mood. And we should know how we can help influence others when they're stuck in a low mood. Why? Because people don't think straight when they're in a bad mood. It's like they become temporarily brain damaged. They become irrational. Their brains are clouded. Like we need to spot each other to get each other out of this mental darkness, right? And we need clarity to do that. And we need to know what's going to work, Right. So, and ideally we want healthy feel-good pick-me-ups. I'm not going to say like, go take a whole bunch of drugs or something necessarily if it's
Right.
going to create long-term problems, right? So,
Right.
all right. So why don't we go into, some different options here
Ideas.
that might make us feel good. Okay. Do you have an idea that comes to mind? Just anything that would be on your list.
Yeah. For me, it's going outside.
Okay. Now
Yeah.
let's get
Mood
really
boost.
specific, because the more specific we are,
Yeah.
I believe the more powerful an answer can be. And then we can get even more out of going outside. Like there can be so many
I
options.
take a walk to the lake.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So number one, go walk to the lake. So it's like
Very clear.
Monica, are you in a bad mood? You're feeling like a 3 out of 10? Go to walk to the lake and then come back and tell me how you're feeling, scale of 1 to 10. We could validate, we could verify that one.
Perfect.
Right? So I think that one's totally an awesome one. I'll go next. Okay. I think watching the Back to the Future trilogy. It's the music, it's the wholesomeness of the themes, the fact it's familiar, like it's an old feel-good movie, like those three. And ironically, it was like 2015 in Back to the Future 2 when Michael J. Fox is having like the first Zoom call before Zoom was a thing. It was like, oh, look at that. It's like a telephone call, but they're like on video, right? And we're doing that right now, which is kind of kind of ironic. So I'd say that, like, big bowl of popcorn, Back to the Future movies would be one.
I love that. That's
like,
awesome.
let's do a Back to the Future marathon.
My next would be running. I would say running for sure. So again, like running outside, not on a treadmill. They're specific. Yeah.
Now, can you add more specifics to running outside? Like, what is there music you listen to that also adds to the experience? Is there, a certain route you run? Is there certain like favorite shoes and clothes you wear or whatever? Like, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, the route is kind of big for me too. I like being near the lake. So if I'm on like Lakeshore or something, that's like my favorite. That's like 10 out of 10. Music wise, it always changes. I don't really listen to like one genre, but it's definitely feel good music, like something that's gonna like amp me up.
Perfect. So we'd say, running along the lakeshore, listening to feel good music. It puts me in a good mood just imagining doing that. I'm like, wow, you got the waves rolling in, the air is so fresh, right? Like you just feel so alive doing something like that. Right?
Yes.
So, and then at any moment, if you want, you can just like wave your arms around, yelling like a maniac, and just run into the water. Right? Like if you want, the option is there. The option is there.
The option is good one, Brennan.
Yeah. So, I'd say one for me next would be feeding chipmunks.
I knew that was coming at some point.
Oh. Feeding chipmunks. You put you have like a little peanut or two, and you give them to them, and to us it's such a little thing, but to them they grab it and it's like, oh yes, and they're trying to like shove it in their face, and then they and then they like scurry off, but they're so entertaining. And so for me it's always just like I'll read books outside and feed the chipmunks, and I'm just like, oh, I'm in heaven right now, like.
I love the pictures you get, the close up. Like you weren't kidding when they literally just like it's right at the side of their cheek. They're storing it. It's the cutest.
I know, totally.
Next up for me would be going to a coffee shop, talking to the baristas. Like I like to go to new coffee shops, small businesses, anywhere in the city, I'll go. Even if it means I drive 30 minutes, I'll do it. Yeah, I like the coffee shop vibe.
Awesome. So it could be like, hey, you know what? I'm not feeling the greatest today. I'm kind of discouraged about something. I'm going to go to the coffee. I'm going to go for a run down by the lakeshore, listening to feel good music. And then after that, I'm going to the coffee shop to talk to a barista.
Sounds like exactly what I would do.
And then I'm having some pasta for dinner, but we can do this. We're setting up like a recipe for you to feel good. And why is that important? Because when you feel good, you are a more resourceful human. You can think with greater clarity. You can relate to people better. And not to undermine the value of all of those dark emotions. The dark emotions serve us. They're almost like alerting us to things. And so they all have benefit. We need to make sure we get the benefit of them and then get out of there.
Right.
And because a lot of people will be like, oh, you shouldn't tell people not to be in bad moods. It's good to be angry and this and that. I'm like, it's good to get the lesson and message of anger, but not necessarily stay in that state, right? And that's where people get confused a lot. But confusion is not a crime.
Yeah.
Love them anyways, right? So
I think that's where the challenge is, right? Like, because when sometimes you manifest it, you indulge in it further than it needs to be. And I think that's like a valid point, because that's something even I struggled with before, or I still do in moments. I have to catch myself, right? And remind myself that I'm only making it worse in that circle. You don't feel good, and then you start to eat things that don't make you feel good. And then the rest of the day becomes a bunch of things that don't make you feel good. So this conversation is super important.
It's a slippery slope. But one of the things that can change that, eating watermelon. Eating watermelon can change it. It's goofy because it's so messy and slobbery. And then there's all these seeds and you got to do something with them. And that's part of the comedy. It's like you're like a watermelon seed machine gun. But for some reason, eating watermelon, you go to the grocery store, you just get a watermelon, go outside with some people, and just let the fun begin. Because it's almost like that's almost like a mood state. Even the color is fun, like the pink fun party color. I'm like, even watermelon's colors are festive for this moment. But that could be a mood enhancing activity as well, right?
Oh, for sure.
All right, back over to you. What's one that you got?
Another feel good.
Yeah.
I like teaching. So usually if I'm connecting to others and teaching or inspiring them, I'm a 10 out of 10. Any bad mood can be cured that way for me.
Oh, that's awesome. And I feel like, part of that is that you enjoy, finding your happiness in the happiness of other people, because that's a lot about contribution, right? So you enjoy the fulfillment of that, right? Which is so that's great too. That's a really good one for sure. Here I am talking watermelon and you just give such a really good high quality wholesome answer.
Well, hey, don't underestimate watermelon. You can bring people together that way.
There's one thing that I know I could do and it would make me feel in a good mood because I've done it before. There was a time I was in my car and I was driving this guy named Tyler and my cousin Dennis. We were going to exercise therapy class, and to prove a point, I think we were all tired because it was early in the morning. To prove a point, I cranked the Beach Boys onto full blast. I put in a Beach Boys greatest hit CD into the car, cranked it on full blast, and we all rolled down the windows and sung at the top of our lungs. Right?
Oh, that is precious.
And we were just I wish they all could be California. And we were going down the road. This is we're not in California or anything. We're in Whitby, Ontario. Crank it. And we're just dying laughing. And we did it for the whole car ride. And we got there and we were just buzzing. We were so just worked up, feeling great. And we're just dying laughing. Even thinking about that moment brings me joy. I could just think about that moment and I'm up 2 points out of 10.
Wow.
So I just say Beach Boys, full blast, sing along, done.
Karaoke night, done. In your car.
Exactly. Exactly.
I would say even watching the sunset.
Oh, that's good.
So ending the day that's always solid. Sometimes my sister and I will go to Riverdale Park in Toronto.
Yep.
Yeah, we usually will go there sometimes, or the lake, of course. And I always find that a way to reset, a really good way to reset.
So, and I would be specific on this one. Like I would say, okay, watching the sunset with my sister at Riverdale Park, right?
There we go.
Because then, you know, if we can't do that, we can modify that one if we need to. You could say, well, maybe I'll just go with my brother or one of my friends, right? But if you have that as an ingredient, like it can definitely be specific in that, you know, that there is, you're bringing awareness to the fact that if you have the right company, it enhances the experience.
Very true. Very true.
Okay. Next one I would say is this, because some of these ideas are convenient and some require a little bit more planning and preparation. So I like to have like something that's like really easy if I need it, you know?
Right.
So I could say that another one is watching videos of curious raccoons getting into things, like on YouTube or whatever, like just with their little hands and their curious spirit and the little teddy bear ears, like just watching videos of them getting into things just humors me so much, you know, like that's why I like followed I joined like a bunch of like different raccoon Facebook groups so that my feed on my Facebook is like a lot of just raccoons getting into stuff. So when I go on social media, I'm not hearing people complain about politics or sports. I'm just seeing raccoons getting into stuff. I'm like, ah, that's so cute. Like this.
There needs to be a Facebook for raccoons, just raccoons.
Yeah, raccoon book.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. Having accessible things. I think music is the quickest and easiest way for me. If I put my headphones in and I listen to like tropical music, I think I'm on vacation. So I always try to boost my mood that way.
You know what I once heard was one of the fastest ways to change mood? Smell.
Oh.
Like if you smell something and it takes you back to like a really good moment in your life, like maybe it's like somebody's like cologne or perfume from back in childhood or something like that, or the smell of a familiar childhood favorite place or something like that. Like smell is one of the fastest ways to just change your mood.
Wow, that's super interesting.
Yeah, so you could burn some incense or something like that and just create like some sort of mood enhancing smell in the air.
The scent.
You know? Like I would say, you know, make fresh coffee and have the smell of, you know, the beans and stuff. My
That would
wife,
definitely boost my mood.
my wife likes when I make coffee because she likes the smell. She doesn't drink coffee, but she likes the smell of coffee. So it lifts her mood when I do the coffee routine in the morning.
That's so great. Yeah, that's definitely adding that one to my list.
Yeah. Just you know what, you don't have to do anything. Just open up the bag of beans and just give it a whiff. Okay, I'm good now.
No one would be surprised if they saw me doing that. No one.
Be like, hold on. This is the thing. The smell of coffee puts me in a good mood.
Oh, that's so perfect. What else?
Is there reading material that you can indulge in that just makes you feel good, or anything in particular, any subjects you like to learn about, like learning about travel or travel destinations or planning things? Like
I usually like, I know this might sound silly, but I usually like to surprise my friends. So I'll book reservations places that they haven't been for a long time, or maybe they mentioned that they wanted to go to, or so sometimes if I find myself like in a bad mood, I'll try to like boost someone else's. So I'll send like an invite, a calendar invite to like a restaurant that they haven't been to for a while or whatnot.
oh, that's
One of
awesome.
my two best friends love it. So like I know, like for example, I did this the other day, like one of them, their birthday's coming up. So I spent the day trying to find like this one restaurant that we had talked about a really long time ago. I have the worst memory sometimes. I was researching and there you go, boosted mood to someone else. So
Awesome.
yeah, reservations, doing research on new restaurants.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a You're
No
such a
one's gonna
good
say that
friend.
one.
You're such a good friend.
I'm all right. I'm all right.
Wow. I love it. And here I am coming up with silly answers all the time.
Raccoons are great. Listen.
Raccoon, curious ones. Curious ones.
Yes.
Okay. I got one. Here's one. I read about this. I read about this one in a book. But here's what we're gonna do. Can you coach me right now? Because teaching is one of the things that enhances your mood. Can you teach me perfect form on how to do your laugh? I want to learn how to do Monica's laugh. I want step by step. You're going to coach me on this. Okay. So first of all, there's like a quiet smile. There's a smile and a roundabout. That was it. So I got this. And then there's the mouth cover up. Okay. So smile, roundabout, mouth cover up. Yes.
There's no way I can coach you that way.
No, I'm ready. Look, I'm already getting it. I'm already getting your laugh. All right. What do I need to know? What do I need to know? I'm getting some of the techniques. I'm getting
No.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, that's an instant boost. Instant boost. Mimic my laugh.
You know what you could do though? Do you have a friend or family member that has a very contagious laugh?
Yes, for sure.
Imagine reaching out to them saying, with all due respect, I love your laugh. When I think of the person with the best laugh, you're the first person to come to mind. I would just so appreciate if we could just jump on a Zoom call or meet up and you could just coach me on doing your laugh. Okay. You will probably be in hysterics. Like,
that's so jokes. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, imagine how that's going to go. First of all, I'm talking about the people that when they laugh, everybody laughs. I remember one time I went to a comedy club and there was this one guy, he was sitting like, kind of like diagonal off. And like, not all the comedians were that great that night, but this guy's laugh was outrageous and he was laughing at everything. He was like, ah, like this kind of thing. And I was like, and his laugh didn't even suit his body. Like, I'm like, that laugh coming out of that human? Like, there's just so much about this, right? And then every now and then he'd laugh like somebody's choking a Muppet. And I was like, I'm just here to laugh at this guy's laugh all night. Like, I can't remember anything.
That's something I would do.
I'm like, yeah, this guy's friends must love him. Like, you cannot be in a bad mood around this guy. And then he had this thing, he would just do it. Like, he'd do this like all the time. Like, oh, I just can't believe life and reality. Like when he's laughing. And I was just like, oh man, I'm like, I'm so happy that human exists. Like, he just brings joy. Just him being happy brings joy to so many people. Anyway, so I would say,
I love that.
I would say as an experiment, like find that one friend or family member that has the most contagious laugh and get them to coach you on how to laugh like they do.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, like, and then tell me that doesn't lift your mood state. Like when we're taking life too seriously, right? All right. What can you think of next?
That'll boost my mood. Well, I can say that whenever I participate in like a yoga meditation, I always come out of that better. Always.
Yeah. Yoga meditation for me too. It's like just some sort of spiritual practice to just get connected to something bigger than we are and get grounded back in that. Like, for me, that does it too. It's just like, it just puts me at peace with everything.
100%. Sometimes it's moving meditation, sometimes it's not, but I've never felt worse after. There's never yet. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I will.
Yeah, perfect. So that's a good one. Sometimes reorganizing or cleaning can make people feel good because it adds order to chaos in life. Right?
That makes sense.
Sometimes they like to help others even clean or organize, and that puts them into a good mood. So that's another kind of similar style of, feel good item. And right now at this point, all we're doing is just putting them in the toolbox, all these ideas, because you could always just hang this up somewhere and be like, I've got power now. I'm empowered because I have clarity on what I can do. And be like, this is a good one. Okay, good. I'm going to use this one right now. I'm going to use that one. And usually, here's the funny thing. When people are in a bad mood, even though they're suffering, they're like resistant to getting out of it. It's like the spell doesn't want to be broken. They're like, no, leave me in a bad mood. It's like, wait, but you love this stuff. Like, so that's why it's like more power for other people, because it's almost like we get under a spell a little bit, a spell of suffering. And we don't want to be, it's like, let me be unhappy. I'm here to be unhappy. It's all right. All right. Live that way, I guess. Now, do you have like a pet or a stuffed animal or anything you can just cuddle that makes you feel like puts you in a good mood?
My cousin's dog.
Okay. Tell me about your cousin's dog.
My cousin's dog, it's a Labradoodle. Her name is Lexi. And she is just like an Energizer bunny.
That is so funny. So you could always just say, hey, cuz, wonder if I can come over and have a cuddle session with Lexi the Labradoodle, right? Like,
yes.
I need to get me some Lexi in my life. Pick up my mood state. I'm only at a 6 out of 10 right now. I need an appointment with Lexi the Labradoodle. She'll know what to do. Don't worry about it.
The only time, and usually because she lives down on Lakeshore, I will usually walk her. The only time where it becomes a little bit of a pain is she hates people who rollerblade. So she will like prance at them. So if I'm going to see Lexi and we're going to walk, it's definitely not near rollerbladers. Anyone on rollerblades? No way.
Okay,
no way.
So now we need to manage Lexi's mood state too. So Lexi can manage you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, all right, well, what's Lexi's list? Okay, like the if she has a little list, it'll probably be like, bones, kibble,
chicken.
Yeah. The absence of rollerbladers, the absence of fireworks, chasing squirrels, whatever, right? Awesome. What about one of the things that could make somebody happy too could be finding a way to live their highest values and principles somehow, right? I think doing this on a consistent basis keeps people in a good mood. So if one of your highest values and principles is thinking, how can I make people feel like they matter? If that's a high principle and value to you, you can act on that. You can just reach out to somebody out of the blue and just give them some encouragement for them in their life and tell them what you appreciate about them and what you've learned from them. You can act on that. And that's a very sustainable, like we're talking about like silly, fun, amusing ones, but that's kind of like a very sustainable way to make yourself feel good. Living your highest values on a consistent basis. What are they and how can you do that in a practical sense?
I like that. I like that one a lot.
All right. Any more you can think of?
I was going to say like a shower. I usually if I hop in the shower, hot shower, cold shower, whatever it is, I feel like it's a refresh button as well.
That does work, actually. You know what? I mean, I was going to think like, bubble bath or something silly like that. Shower does work. It does refresh us, doesn't it? So, for sure that one would work good. I think skipping is one that works good too. So you talk about running down by the lake. If you skip, I think that can also there's something about the act of skipping, not like skipping rope, but like just skipping along like you're all happy.
And hop step. Yep.
Yeah. Something about that just tells the brain, okay, it's time to have fun. No more moods. We're
Dance
skipping.
party.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like to do, and I like to improvise like a song on the spot too. Like I
Wow.
could just take a song I know and just make up lyrics to the moment. Like I know that I went for a nature walk with Ashley, and I was making a point in conversation about how we become more empowered when we're cool with not knowing all the answers on stuff. Because some people have this sense of unrest and they have to form an opinion because they have to have something. And I'm like, no, we're more empowered if we're okay to say we don't know, and we're getting that space. So, and in order to make that point memorable, I improvised a song and got it and held her hand and forced her to skip through the woods with me. So we're like skipping, and I'm like singing the song, and I'm like trying to get it into her head, like so she'll never forget it, kind of thing, right? And we're skipping. We get to the end of the walk, and I'm like, "Where's my phone? Oh my gosh, my phone fell out of my pocket when we were skipping through the woods." Right?
Oh my goodness.
So then I had to go back into the woods, and I found some family. They're like, "Hey, did you lose your phone?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's mine."
I was just skipping. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
I was
it.
skipping through the woods singing, and yeah, you know. There was another time many years ago, I was on a camping trip with a big group of friends, and we did like, I think it was like an hour to an hour and a half long hike to get to some like remote pond or lake. And then by the time we started to head back, it started to pour rain hard, like cold, big, heavy raindrops. And the moment like it hit us that we're going to be in this and we got no way out, and we got like a long walk ahead of us. And at that moment, and I think there was like 10 to 12 of us. At that moment, I decided to just get everyone to join me in singing Les Miserables at the top of our lungs, like show tunes. Like, can you hear the people sing? And we're going through the woods singing at the top of our lungs, like
That's
it's an epic
hilarious.
scene from a movie. And then the funny thing, and then we went on to songs like Build Me Up Buttercup and like Stand By Me. And we're doing this and we're getting drenched, but we're laughing our heads off at what we've turned the moment into. And then we hear singing in the distance. And then we come across, there's like a little bit of a clearing, and we come across another group of campers. We're there, just like in the middle of nowhere. And they've joined in our song, and they're like saluting us, and we're saluting them, and we're all in like perfect timing. And the beautiful thing is we didn't stop to talk to them and be like, hey, that was kind of cool, and everything else. We just kept rolling with it, almost like as if it was planned. And that's what almost even made it even funnier. Like, yes, you guys showed up on cue in this moment in life. And we're continuing on our way, kind of thing, right?
Flash mob with karaoke.
Yeah. So
Wow.
Okay. So here's the thing. We want to get to like a list of 25 things. We want to be very clear on it. Okay. A list of like 25 things. And you can add to it. You could say, oh, you know what? Go for a massage, right? Like
Right.
talk to so-and-so on the phone, do some dancing, dance around a kitchen dance party, or, try to peel an orange in one piece. That makes me feel good. It's like, yes. Right. Like, and
I've still yet to do that.
oh, I did it once in high school in the calf, and we set it up and we put like a little sign that said free orange to see if we could like trick anybody. Like, like, because it was like obviously just because it maintained the shape still.
Right. That is so funny. Did
And
it
I think we
work?
spelled orange wrong on purpose. It was like ORNGE, like just to make us seem like morons. Anyway, it made us feel good to do that little joke. And I think somebody came by and they're like, what is this? And they like crushed it. And we're like, well, that didn't really work out the way we thought. No, it was somebody who was just confused. Like, it wasn't like, we were just like, well, we thought they might think it's an orange and be like, yay. Oh, like, anyway, immature. That was immature. But here's the thing. Could you come up with a list of 25 and potentially add to it? Yes, right? Could you get somebody to spot you and keep you accountable to doing these things when it's necessary for you to get out of a bad mood, right?
100%.
Now I'm putting a little asterisk when it's necessary, because sometimes we need to actually just sit with our feelings to make sure we are getting the message of them, right? Hey, are you getting the message of this feeling in the learning lesson? Like, what is it? For example, Frustration means that, you know, you're within reach of something or within grasp of something you can attain, but it's just not happening yet, right? Which is hopeful, because disappointment is like, there's not really a chance it's going to happen, right? Anger means that one of your rules has been violated, right? Like there's a whole bunch of different messages we might get from our emotions, right? So we want to make sure that we just get that message and then we get out of it. Now, here's something. Could you find people that you can teach this drill to?
For sure.
Would that make you happy?
Yeah.
Yeah, because teaching's on it. That's one of your things, right? Now, so that's what I would say is, you know, find people to teach it to. I would also encourage anybody to just take a 10-day challenge on this and just refuse to dwell on any of these unresourceful thoughts or feelings, and see if you can, like, I mean, if it comes to you, just try to flip yourself out of it. Just don't hold on to it and ruminate on things. Otherwise, you know, if you do indulge in it, you got to start over, you know, at day one, right? So the idea is to do like 10 days in a row. And, you know, when you catch yourself going there into a bad mood place, right? Just kind of like, you can brainstorm what's good about this, what can be learned, how can I make it better, to shift your focus in a way that empowers you. You can do some of these things that make you feel good right away and try to make the best of it. It's almost like you just need to create a little bit of a pause on life if something kind of disrupts your inner peace, and then, you know, return back when you're ready. But I would also say that, you know, if you like backslide on this stuff, don't beat yourself up, just laugh it off. Be like, isn't that cute? I thought I was going to do this 10-day thing, and then yesterday I was mad at my friend for a whole day. All right, time to start again, right?
Day one.
Yeah. Like, don't beat yourself up, because that just makes things worse, right? It's like part of the comedy of life is that we're all learning and figuring it out, and sometimes we're challenged. But it's like, you wouldn't expect to play a game of golf and get a hole in one and beat yourself up because you didn't get a hole in one, right? So it's just like, nope, stop, take your next shot and go. So that's like the 10-day challenge. And I'd say don't begin the 10-day challenge unless you're sure that you're going to live by it for the full 10 days. Because if you don't start with a sense of commitment, then you probably won't make it through, right? And there's only like 3 things that'll get in the way. Like, one is laziness. Okay. Just never giving yourself the energy and focus to actually do this. The other is just living on autopilot, like just being a slave to your routine thought habits and actions. And then the third one is fear, people fearing giving up these moods because they like the hidden benefits of bad moods. They like the sympathy they get from people, or they feel like it's necessary to motivate them, or they wear their moods as a badge of honor, like it's something to be proud of, or it's a way for them to get attention because people are always trying to help them. So we've got to address any sort of fear to letting go of this stuff in order to get what you really want in a more sustainable way. And then the benefits of doing something like this are that, you know, it'll make you aware of your mental patterns that are holding you back, because now you're paying attention to it. Like, oh, did I indulge in some gloomy mood, right? It's going to make your brain, it's going to challenge you to keep training yourself to overcome it, right? So it'll build confidence as you get better at it, you know, in time. And ideally, you want to get addicted to a positive focus for the rest of your life. Like, why live to be unhappy? You can't be happy that way. Live to be happy, right? Like, and get good at living to be happy.
And most people want that, right? Most people, for the most part, like, you ask people what they want, like, I want to be happy. It's like, okay, here's the recipe to success, like you said. And we have that within us. And I think the support system part of it is just that's what's maybe the next step, is, is just to be reminded of the things that actually do make you happy.
Yeah. And then I would say to people, look, if you
In
try this,
your vulnerable moment.
sorry, what did you say? It froze up there a little bit.
Oh no. I said just having that support system as like reminders of what truly makes you happy, I think would be a really good
Oh
idea.
yeah, that's a big deal too. That's a big deal
Yeah.
too. Now, and after, if you do the 10-day experiment, and you experience what it's like maybe you don't like how mentally alive you feel when you're living this way, and you want to go back to old toxic mental patterns, then you could go back if after the 10-day experiment, right? But my experience is once people start to do this, the old way of thinking and the mental reality disgust them. And they're like, I do not want to do that again. And, one of the things they start to realize is, that the bad moods create injustices on other people. Because when you're in a bad mood, the people who care about you get pulled down. It's like a drowning person grabbing and pulling others under. It actually spreads negativity. You become a tool for negative energy when you indulge in this. It's like throwing a skunk into the middle of the room. It stinks for everybody. So once we start to realize, like, is that the person I want to be? Is that the value I'm committed to? Because I can just change values, and this is a way to do it, right? We think more clearly when we're in good moods. Others are happier. If we want others to be happy, we should ourselves discipline ourselves to be happy, because it's hard for them to be happy if they see us suffering, right? It becomes a tool for spreading negativity, right? So this is just a lot of times, although this is one of the most important things in life, I just think we're not as strategic about it as we could be. It's like, hey, we learn how to, just as you learn a new language or learn how to play the piano or learn how to do math in school, why not learn to be happy, right? Really comes down to focus. You can find anything to be happy about if you just make the effort and you develop that thought habit of making the effort.
100%.
Right? So
I agree.
So, I mean, the first thing we got to do is realize why all these, as we discussed in the previous, a couple videos ago, why all of these mental habits are a bad idea, because it's actually in conflict to what we really want. These things betray our happiness and they betray our highest values. So and then we've got to get clear that there's no rules that are holding us back, like rules we live by, like, if people do this or do that, then I'm not allowed to feel good, or whatever it is, right? Like, people make up these disempowering rules on how to live life. So we need to address that, and then just come up with that, like, feel good toolbox, and you can make it things you eat, people you talk to, things you do physically, like pump some iron and feel good, listening to things like maybe your favorite music. Oh, reliving favorite memories is another thing. Like, if you want to feel good, think about times you felt good.
Sharing laughter was a good one that we just said.
Yeah. Think about all those times you felt good, and you'll relive them. You'll be re-energized by them if you relive them. So just think about all the happiest moments of your life. Like, what were they? Like those moments when you're just like belly laughing. Well, for you, it's more like
around the world
without a sound. It's like around the world without a sound. And then it's like, I can't believe this. It's that. And then if I get you with this, it's like, I can't believe this. And then you go, if I get you with that, that's stage 3 is this full body expansion. That's it. I will learn your laugh yet. Darn you. I will get it down.
You will surprise me if you do. Some people
sound is a little bit like it's soft. It's like it's kind of like a little musical. It's like kind of like if you just like, I don't know. I don't know why I'm thinking this. It's kind of like the sound I might make if I find a random cookie in my sock drawer. Like, how did this get here? Like,
oh my goodness. You're making my day. Yeah, all I'm gonna picture is this now with around the world. And when I laugh, I never noticed that.
But you know what? It's awesome. I love it. It makes it more fun. It brings joy. Don't you dare change that either.
Never.
I love it.
I
I love it.
couldn't.
But you've got a very dynamic style. You have a whole bunch of different things you'll do, so it's a little bit more complex. Like some people just laugh one way. It's like, like some people are just like, they have like the,
Yeah.
you
I had this French teacher who had like the loudest volume laugh I've ever heard. And to this day, it's still like I can mimic it if I like tried. Like I don't know. Everyone's so different. It's fun.
Please,
It's fun.
please, I beg you, just give me a hint of what it was. You can't leave my curiosity at that.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Her laugh, it was like, ah, and that's literally how she laughed. And it was like an extended, like it's a long laugh. Like it's like a to this age. That was like my grade 2 French teacher. I don't know how I remember it, but I just do.
Oh my goodness. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. Okay. What are your key takeaways from today's discussion?
Key takeaways is I would say just to like have your not happy journal, have your like your recipe for success or recipe for happiness.
Get happy playlist, whatever.
Happy playlist. Yeah. At your like within reach, within your vision, whether it's on your phone or in front of you. And even just having conversation about it. I know with like my best friend, for example, like we've gotten to a point where she'll literally say, did you run yet? Did you meditate? So just having those reminders, having those individuals or that support system, and also like owning up to it. Like, hey, I'm not really feeling the greatest, like, so that people can assist you and know your recipe as well. So my
You're
takeaway,
right. Being humble enough to get help.
Yeah.
Like
that's big.
That's, and that's where humility is a key to happiness, because as a matter of ego, we're more interested in looking right than in doing what's right. And as a matter of ego and pride and trying to look good, we will emotionally plunge ourselves into emotional pain and take others down with us, so humility is a prerequisite to being effective at this stuff, to being even receptive to this stuff, right? But sometimes that's the path for people,
right?
But we've all done it before, myself included. I've made many mistakes in my life. I've made so many mistakes I can't even remember them all.
That's okay. We all have.
But I would say it's also true that, whoever's listening to this, and yourself included, you've also done so much good in your life, you can't remember it all either. So many people you've encouraged, so many people you've helped. You may even have moments where somebody's like, hey, you said something to me like, 10 years ago and it really made a difference. You're like, I don't even remember the conversation, right? Like, I remember I was on a GO train and somebody's like, he's like, Brendan Fox. I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, 10 years ago, you met me and you helped me fix my knee pain and blah, 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 and this and that. I'm like, well, oh, hey, man. I'm like, who is this guy?
Who are you?
Because it was like 10 years ago and I'd see 10 people a
of
day,
course.
but he knew my full name and he recognized me. And I was like, wow, I didn't even remember this session happened, but I was like, this is awesome.
That's amazing.
So I thought you were a 10 out of 10 today. Definitely one of the most fun coaching sessions we could have is this part 3, and all the rest was preliminary work to having this conversation. And I would encourage you to teach this to other people so that they can just live to be happy. It's that simple. Like, what's the point? If life is a mysterious gift from above, like, why not just appreciate the gift, right? Like, so, and I think this is part of the key to just unwrapping it and appreciating it, is just being intentional around that. Okay. Let's do Go Team on 3.
Let's do this.
But when we do Go Team on 3, we're going to do that teacher's laugh to end.
I knew that was coming. Okay.
I know.
Ready? I feel so bad. Oh, man.
No, and I mean, we're saying, and not to mock her.
No.
Because it brings joy. Her laugh brings joy. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
We are ready.
1, 2, three, go team.
Ah!